name is Jeff Bramwell from Playa Tesoro, Leon, Nicaragua. I work with my brother. We have a development on the beach in the department of the state of Leon in Nicaragua. We're trying to make a video that answers some of the many questions, but they're repetitive questions that we've heard over the last 20 years of working in Nicaragua. I can't speak to other states in Nicaragua. There's 14 departamentos. Things seem to run differently in different ones, and we have some buyers who are also in Granada and San Juan del Sur, and I'm learning the last few months that things work a little different there in terms of time and frame. So I'm only going to speak to what I know. What I know is Leon Departamento. It's got the second biggest city in it and probably the second most populated state in the country after Managua, the central state. We'd like to make a video taking it from you're sitting at home in North America and you're interested in Nicaragua. What do you do now? Key in playatesoro.com or tesorovacations.com. Playa Tesoro is our property. You can look under land for sale or houses for sale, and you can see all our offerings. If any of that interests you, then book yourself a place to stay. If there's 7 homes in the rental pool, if you like the homes, book it, and then our management team will start getting in touch with you about your stay, a driver to pick you up at the airport, about options for car rentals or other ways to travel after you stay at our place. If you want to go somewhere else, we have drivers and car rental guys can give you a car. However you want to do it, we'll help you with that. So I would recommend you come and see us. Very safe place, you have nothing to worry about. Bring your children, I bring my children all the time, and come down and have a look. That's the way I would recommend you take your first step. In all the country, you've got some issues that you need to consider. For me, your first issue is the quality of the title. So you need to understand that it's not the same as North America, where there's just really 2 titles. You know, there's a fee old simple where your house probably is, and maybe there's a stratified residence title where you have a condo in a building, or you might have a leasehold where you don't actually own the land, you're making rental payments to a city or a native band or something. That's all we have in North America. In Nicaragua, there's many more different types of title. There's colonial titles, there's concession, which is leasehold, but there can be many different variations of that. There's issues with pre-revolution titles versus post-revolution titles. You have nuances whether the pre-revolution owner was compensated when the revolution occurred and people fled and they left their land behind. Did they get compensated by the government after the revolution, being paid, or did they not? That's a nuance you have to consider. I've been involved for almost 21 years now, and maybe in the last 6 years it's become computerized. But prior to that, from 1862, I think it was 1862 to 5 years ago, it was a paper-based system. All kinds of different false documents forwarded and breaks in the chain of title, meaning that if someone passed a fraudulent document somewhere, even 70 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, your chain of title is broken. So the title that you're buying is not correct. It's not valid. Well, there will be another title or even a third title on the same property. You ask me why we spent 20 years to take our product to market. It's because we are Canadian and we only know one way. There's only one title, one owner, and you do things properly, and that's all we know. We don't know shortcuts, corruption, payoffs, bribes. That's not what we do. We've seen so many different scams, and we ourselves have been scammed many times. For me, the easiest solution is to just do it properly the first time. Now, most people don't take that because it takes 20 years and costs you a tremendous amount of money. But that's what we do. So my recommendation is, in order to avoid all those problems, is quite simple. Is simply buy from us at Playa Tesoro. Other people are going to make you other offers, and you're going to say that there's better deals and whatnot around the country. There's 2 things you should be aware of. 1, make sure you're talking about a Diviso Agrarian title. Indiviso is a different title again. The Reform Agrarian, the Agrarian title, is a legitimate title, but it can have lots of nuances in it that make it not the 100% correct title. And you might have multiple owners. We've been through this for many years, sorting this out and buying people off and buying their titles and making sure that there's only one title, ours, but other people don't because it's a very expensive process. Just be aware that apples are not comparable to apples in this country. There's many different types of oranges and many types of apples, and it's very tricky. And there's nothing you can do to protect yourself, by the way. Well, basically buy from us and be sure. Just because there's a house on a property, that gives you certain confidence that the title is in order, doesn't necessarily mean that the title is 100% correct. There still can be a buyer out there who has not been compensated and is waiting. So it's tricky. So, I mean, if you want some personal history on me, you come from Canada and you think the law firms have errors and omission insurance. So if they give you bad advice, you have some recourse. You presume. Not so in Nicaragua. 20 years ago, we had clean slates from several law firms that it was in order with our title, and it wasn't. And there's no compensation, there's no insurance for that, there's no errors and omissions. It's just, oh, sorry, we made a mistake. That's it. When you ask, how do I know my land is clean? I can tell you with confidence that I've spent 20 years sorting it out and buying everybody's title around me, or negotiating or analyzing, either analyzing and buying it or analyzing and dispensing with the guy because he's full of crap. So these are some of the challenges you're up against in our state, and I'm sure in every other state. Once again, I know Leon very, very well. One thing that's very, very important to know is that the computerization of the system, the two that I know that are fully functioning are the Managua state and Leon state. I don't think any of the other 12 states have got their full computerization of the land registry functioning. Now that is an enormous step forward, and that's started about 7 years ago and finished about 2 years ago. And so with this, you can do your applications for building permits, your applications for your land transfers all online. Your rates are all online, so everybody knows what they are. They give you specific dates that they'll be complete the process. Okay, when you pay, you get the stamp as a date. It tells you what date that this step in the process will be completed, and they're keeping to those dates. These are huge step forwards, and it's made it a lot harder for fraudsters and corrupt guys to slip stuff in and set up positions that are an obstacle to your success and want money for it. It's become very, very difficult with this. So that is a huge step forward. So I don't want to scare you to death on everything. One of the confusing things for people from North America is the process to transfer title in this country. So once again, I can speak to my experience at Playa Tesoro and Leon, Nicaragua. My understanding is Italy and Spain work the same way. They just computerize and go faster. The way it works is that you and I come to an agreement on whichever lot, and then we go through several steps in order to fully transfer the title over to you. Now, once again, as I mentioned before, it's all computerized now, so it's much easier. I can give you the receipts. I can give you the timestamp receipts from the registry of when things are going to get. Each of these steps are completed. So it's much better than it used to be. The first step is to do the survey. The surveyor goes out, he sets the points, gives us the document back. It's got your name on it, whoever's name is going to be the final owner, name or names. Usually we don't use corporate structures because they become very difficult with tax down there. Usually we suggest individuals' names, individual 1 or 1 and 2, with all the expenses. The rules have changed on the surveyors in this country, as far as I understand. I think there's 7 surveyors now that are anointed in Nicaragua for our state, for our Departamento of Leon. So there's only 7, so they're pretty busy. There used to be many, but there was a lot of bad surveying work. And I've been doing this for a long time, where the surveys are wrong. They're just simply not very good at what they do. And so surveyor A does a survey, and it's different from surveyor B, and surveyor 3 is different from that, and then the catastrophe comes out and checks, and that's different again. So they have done something intelligent about 2.5 years ago, which is get rid of the guys that don't know what they're doing, and they've got, each state has their anointed surveyor. So we have 7, I understand, in Leon. The prices went up, but the quality is better. So we do that, and then we get in your name, you approve it. And then we move to the next step, the catastro. The catastro takes the approved survey and then applies the property identification number to it. So you go into the property tax system, your lot does, and then you get a property ID number with your name, and it has a brief history of where your title came from. Our land is primarily raw land, so it doesn't. We're not in a city. So in a city, you might take the old survey and just get it reviewed. Because we're raw land on the beach, you have to start from scratch and have a new survey done. So the catastrophe comes and checks, then give you a property ID number, then you get that back. And then we move to the next step, which is the appraisal. You need an appraisal by the government comes out, you schedule an appraiser to come out and gives you an appraisal for your lot. That's a price that it's worth. And then you take that in and you pay 10% of this appraised value as your property transfer tax, we will call it, to the tax authority called DGI. So we pay that, and then the developer would provide what's called a libertad de gravamen, which means free of liens. So that means that the property that we're giving to you has no liens on it. Liens are mortgages, so it's free title. There's no debt. So we supply that, and you get a solvencia municipal, which is more registrations in the registry of identifying your lot. We collect all that up, and then we do one more, usually about 14-page document in Spanish called an escuda, and that one confuses people because when you read an escuda, you start at the back page. The back 3 pages have all the information. The first 11 pages are just introductions of whom they are, their license number, where they live, who you are, who I am, who the lawyers are, the history of the title, the actual lot information is the last 3 pages. So people generally get one of those and they get confused because they're trying to read the Spanish for 10 pages, and there's like, when they understand it after all that effort, there really isn't much in there. It's the last couple of pages that have the stuff in it. Make sure all the spelling mistakes and passport numbers, everything's correct in there. So that's a full set of documents. You got your plano approved, your certificado catastral, your CC they call it, approved and stamped. You got your appraisal. You got your DGI receipt for the property taxes paid. You got your solvencia municipal, and I gave you a libertad gravamen showing that I don't owe any taxes on the property. That's a full set of documents. At that point, I'm finished. You own the land. And then you take those documents, and we have an in-house legal staff who can do it for you, or you can hire another lawyer to look at it and follow it through the next steps. We get paid. We are at this moment, we are transferring the title to you. You own it. We don't own it anymore. You take those documents, you file them all, pay the fee, and then you wait. I don't know, could be 45 days, could be 60 days, could be 75 days, not too long, and you'll get it all back, approved and finished. And for North Americans, there's a confusion because this 30 to, say 90 days, and up here it takes like 3 minutes. When you go to a lawyer to sign off here in North America on your purchase and you pay at that time. In Nicaragua, you pay at that time as well, but you have to wait 2 to 3 months for your documents to come back all stamped. So there's a lot of confusion in that area, and you have no problems once you've assembled all those documents. There is no more problems. The transfer is complete. You're just waiting for the paperwork to come through. So that's an important point. It's very confusing for people. I have one of those right now. Well, I actually have a few of them right now where they're like, I'm not going to pay you in total until you give me my papers and it's filed in the computer system like it is in Canada. It's like, well, that's not how it works in Nicaragua. I am giving you all your papers, but you got to wait 2 or 3 months. So you have to pay me now. So we've done our deal and you've bought a lot. There's other things that come up after that. If you buy a house or a cabana that have water and power attached to it, then this doesn't apply. Nature didn't make lots on the beach with electricity and water hookups. We spent a lot of money to install that. And so there are charges in order for us to give you water and electricity. So in our contract, you'll see, in our purchase contract, you'll see some numbers related to your water hookup and your electricity hookup. So it's $700 for the connection fee to connect to the water system and to maintain the water system, and the $600 for the actual meter and for us to dig up the ground and give you a hose bib and a meter. After that, the consumption we charge by the consumption of water, which is $1 US per 1 cubic meter of water. These are very low rates. On the electricity, just to be clear with everybody, what's going to be in the contract, the connection fee for electricity is $700. You're going to need a power pole construction. Like you need a pole and a panel and some breakers and some wires and some guy lines and a ground built on your lot. So we do all that for $600. And then you're going to need, after that, you're going to need an application to Desnorte to give you the electricity, and you're going to need the fire department to come out and inspect our electrical work to make sure it's done to high standards. But after the fire department has inspected our work, they're going to put the meter in, and then the power is live. They never have the right meter. Like I've done I don't know how many of these things. They never have the meter you want. You always got to wait 3 months. Right now they have a standard program. They have a 110 meter, but we want a 208 meter. You got to wait a couple of months and wait for the next container to come in. So we manage that. Then you have to remind them, and then usually they don't have it. Then usually you have to ask them, can we just connect it and use the electricity because we waited 3 months, and just use it for free because you don't have a meter? They always say yes, and then a month later they'll come out with the meter. Someone has to manage all this. So for all that, that's $500. And then your electricity consumption is billed on a monthly basis, just like anywhere else in the world by Desnorte. So that's how electricity works. And then we have some very, very low ongoing, what we're calling the annual Tesoro Beach Community Property Association fees. It amounts to $900 a year, including your property taxes. Now, if you do any comparison with anybody anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, these are really, really low prices. I can't speak to all the different scams and problems that people have had in Nicaragua, but all I can speak to is that if you come and you work with us at Playa Tesoro, we can offer you a secure place where you can build a very nice home for yourself, for your children, for your grandchildren, and your grandchildren's grandchildren. Enjoying the time while you're there with the Cité de Leon, with this vibrant the history. It's really interesting. It's a lot of fun, lots of adventure, is real, and good health care. And I'm certain that one day the world's going to catch up at a faster rate. There's going to be a big financial gain. In the meantime, we're having a lot of fun down there, and we'd be happy to have you come down and enjoy it with us.